Today, we'll look at every preset tactic in Football Manager. This is probably the most underrated preset in Football Manager. While everyone's obsessing over gegenpressing, control possession is quietly dominating games in a completely different way. This tactic is all about patience. You're not trying to win the ball high and score in 10 seconds. Instead, you're saying to the opponent, "We're better than you, so we'll keep the ball until we find the perfect moment to hurt you." The control possession uses a balanced mentality, making it suitable for most teams. You also approach the game with an urgent trigger press, urging your team to try and win the ball back. But remember, this is not a high pressing system. The team's line of engagement for this style of play is a mid-block, giving your players time to adjust their position before applying a strategic press. In transition, the team is not in a rush to move the ball forward. No forced counterattacks, so the team plays with a low tempo. To get the best out of control possession, formations like the 4-2-3-1, the 4-3-3, and the 5-2-3 are suitable for this style of play. The 4-2-3-1 is balanced, and it works well for most teams that choose to play offensively or defensively. The 4-3-3 is slightly more attacking and works best if you're the better team. The 5-2-3 has more players in defense and works best if you're not the best team or if you want to protect the lead by keeping the ball. For player roles, I recommend the super keeper on support in goal because this allows the keeper to get involved in the build-up phase. In defense, any role except the no-nonsense centre-back is fine. This is because the no-nonsense centre-back has the tendency to clear the ball long and not retain possession. For your wide defenders, I recommend fullbacks on support as they are steady and support the midfield in possession. In midfield, you need playmakers for this system to work. That's because the team is so patient in possession, they need creative players to play through balls to unlock the defense. Your striker can be a creative, dynamic player or a tall, dominating striker. Tiki-taka takes possession to the next level. Tiki-taka places the emphasis on short passing, extreme pressing, and movement, waiting for space to open up when opponents lose focus. The beauty is in the patience. Pass, 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 and suddenly a player appears in a pocket of space because the defender lost concentration for half a second. Unlike the control possession system, Tiki-taka adopts a relentless pressing approach, forcing the opponent to make mistakes so your team can recover the ball. The passing directness is also much shorter with a much slower tempo, further emphasizing the need to retain possession. This can make the team passive in possession, so to fix this, Tiki-taka has a positive mentality. This encourages the team to play the ball forward and try to attack rather than just keep possession for the sake of it. But here's the reality check. This requires world-class technical players, so I don't recommend trying this with a championship team unless you enjoy watching your players lose the ball with every third pass. The best formation for the tiki-taka is the 4-3-3. However, the 4-2-3-1 is also a decent option. The player roles are similar to what you will use for a control possession style of play. However, for the wide defenders, fullbacks are not so effective here. That's because they don't offer enough penetration going forward. To deal with this, using wingbacks or complete wingbacks to offer width for the team is preferable. For the striker, roles like the deep lying forward or the false 9 are best suited for the highly technical style of play. In the heart of midfield, this is where it gets tricky. With wingbacks flying forward to attack, I recommend having a halfback in defensive midfield to offer some protection. You can also use a deep line playmaker on defend. Since the team keeps the ball a lot, the Metala and all playmaker roles are great roles to adopt for this system, as they tend to run in behind and create chances for the team. Vertical tiki-taka is a more direct version of a tiki-taka where a team will look to move the ball forward quicker. You still get the beautiful short passes, those triangles, but now you're trying to hurt the opposition fast. Think Pep Guardiola's Manchester City rather than Pep Guardiola's FC Barcelona. You dominate the ball, sure, but every pass has intent. Every movement is designed to get you closer to the goal, not just to keep possession. While the 4-2-3-1 and the 4-3-3 are good formations for a vertical tiki-taka, the 4-1-4-1 and the 4-4-2 diamond offer a unique variety suited to the quick passing system. The mentality for the vertical tiki-taka is balanced, much like in control possession. However, the vertical tiki-taka borrows more core principles from the regular tiki-taka: relentless pressing, high defensive line, and shorter passing. Vertical tiki-taka also adopts a high tempo, urging the team to move the ball quicker rather than passing it sideways all the time. This makes it harder for the opponent to track your players when defending, as your team will move the ball around quickly. You need intelligent players with good decision making to play quick and accurate passes, as well as players with high work rate to keep up with the high pressing intensity. Pace is really important for wingers in this formation. This isn't just about only technical ability. Your wide players need to burn past opposition defenders when the perfect pass arrives. Player roles used in tiki-taka can be used in the vertical tiki-taka system, but you also need to add vertical movement in midfield. Rather than use 3 playmakers in the heart of midfield, adding a vertical runner like a segundo volante, a box-to-box midfielder, or a central midfielder on attack is a good idea. And your striker can be an advanced forward who likes to run in behind the opposition's defense. The vertical tiki-taka has a notable weakness. Playing too quickly can cause the team to lose possession in key areas. It's also vulnerable to counter-attacks if your press is bypassed. Listen to this quote: "You can have the ball for 70 minutes, but we only need 3 seconds to hurt you." This is direct counter-attack. This is Jose Mourinho's pragmatic football, and this is Leicester City's title-winning Premier League football. While your opponents are passing it around their back four for almost 47 minutes, you're waiting. And when they make one mistake, boom, ball to the striker, ball to the winger, cross, goal. The beauty of this system is in the simplicity. With the direct counter-attack, formations like the 4-4-2, the 5-3-2 tend to work best, as they offer defensive solidity in a compact block, helping you defend well for longer periods. The team will adopt a cautious or defensive mentality, urging them to sit deep, stay compact, and defend. In transition, there is no counter-pressing. This is because a counter-press can disrupt your team's defensive shape, creating gaps for the opponents to exploit. Standing off with less often trigger press enables your team to pick the right moments to make a tackle and win the ball. The direct counter-attack favors smaller teams with less technical players, since you don't have to rely on retaining possession. However, you do need physical players like pacey wingers who can carry the ball forward and strong physical defenders who can win headers. For player roles, a standard goalkeeper or a super keeper on defend duty is recommended, as these players are designed for counter-attacking. In defense, you can adopt a no-nonsense centre-back here, but use them wisely. Their clearances can start the counter-attacks. You can also use a ball-playing defender, as they offer a more calculated long ball. In midfield, ball-winning midfielder and the deep line playmaker on support duty are a decent option. You can also have a box-to-box midfielder in there to help out with defense. I recommend wingers on the flanks, as they are more direct, and for the striker, a target man, an advanced forward, or a poacher is fine. If you want to play counter-attacking and you want it to look pretty, then fluid counter-attack is the way to go. Think Real Madrid under Carlo Ancelotti. They'll sit back, absorb pressure, but when they win the ball, it goes to Modric, who finds Vinicius, or Freddy Valverde, who sets up Jude Bellingham. That's fluid counter-attacking. Patient but deadly. The fluid counter-attack will attempt to soak up pressure and turn over possession deep in your own half before making quick attacks as the opponent is most vulnerable. But here's the key difference from direct counter-attack. Fluid counter-attack leverage formations like the 4-3-3 and the 3-4-3 system also work. Designed to be more solid defensively but creative going forward, box-to-box midfielders and inside forwards are key for this system. You can get creative with ball-playing defenders and wing-backs in defense, much like you would in any expansive system. But your players need the discipline to keep their shape when out of possession and the technical ability to create explosive counterattacks when you recover possession. Unlike direct counterattacking that is built for defense, fluid counterattack adopts a more balanced approach, giving your players freedom to create chances when they win possession back. The fluid counterattack is suitable for most teams, but I recommend you use it when your opponent is only slightly better than you. When you feel like you can hurt them on the counterattack, it's perfect for that sweet spot where you are not the favorites to win the game, but you're also not the underdogs either. The Route 1 tactic aims to play the furthest pass available, with the intent to penetrate the opposition's penalty area as early as you can. The goalkeeper gets the ball, sees the striker 60 yards away, and thinks, yeah, let's have some of that. This is football reduced to its absolute basics. Win the ball, get the ball to the big man, cause chaos in the box and score. The recommended formations for this style of play are the 4-4-2 and the 5-3-2. The Route 1 also adopts a balanced mentality. This is to allow for the extreme team instructions used in this style of play. The passing is much more direct, with the goalkeeper and central defenders clearing the ball to the strikers and wingers in attack, so you can use this to bypass the opposition's midfield. For Route 1 football, you can adopt the same player roles as you would for a direct counter-attack. However, avoid players that demand the ball, like the advanced playmaker on support. You can have a big target forward who wins balls in the air, but remember, sometimes the Route 1 pass is great for a pacey striker who can beat the offside trap and score from a 1v1 situation. Now here's where it gets interesting. The Route 1 is not a defensive system. However, the team plays with a low defensive line to invite the opposition onto them, creating space at the back for you to exploit on the counter-attack. The Route 1 is suitable for teams with inferior tactical players. Your players don't need to have 16 vision or passing attribute. They can just clear the ball into space and hope that the attackers get to it first. It feels like a style of play where you have the least control over what happens during a match. You can avoid the Route 1 if you come up against a big, tall, physical or aerial dominant side. Why clear the ball to your target forward if he is surrounded by superior physical defenders? Use this system against possession-heavy teams that like to press high and play with a high defensive line. Defensive systems are sometimes overlooked on Football Manager. You may even say they are useless, but that is because we set up a team to defend and expect the team to dominate other teams and break the game. That's unrealistic. But with deeper understanding of when and how to use defensive system, I've started to respect them more. Park the Bus is the most defensive system in all of Football Manager. There is no intent to attack, only to defend and protect the lead. If the team sees a window to attack, fine. If they don't, they stay in their shape and try not to concede a goal. Think of Jose Mourinho's Chelsea against Liverpool in 2014 or Chelsea against Bayern Munich during the Champions League final in 2012. Unlike other systems we've discussed, Park the Bus is the only system that is situational. What that means is, you can't play a whole season parking the bus. It is not a style of play. It's a system you use to defend the lead or secure a point in a match. While you can play almost any formation with this system, it is recommended that you have bodies at the back. So a 5-3-2, a 3-4-3 or a 4-4-2 are great shapes to try. For player roles, most of your players should also be on defend duty. However, you can have your strikers play on support to offer an outlet going forward. Avoid playmaker roles that dwell on the ball and players who don't contribute enough defensively like Trocatista and Metala. Remember, you're not trying to hit the opposition on a counter-attack, you just need to defend. You play in a low block, low defensive line and force your opponent out wide. There is no counter-attacking, only frequent time wasting when you do recover possession of the ball. This by far is the most misunderstood style of play in Football Manager, even in world football as a whole. Made famous by Italian manager Helenio Herrera, Catenaccio prides itself in having a backup plan in defense. Catenaccio is an Italian term that means door bolt. The idea of the system is to have one last covering defender to close the gaps and sweep up through balls. Catenaccio is misunderstood in football because most managers enjoy the defensive solidity it brings and neglect the attacking prowess of the system. In this style of play, you need a formation that is near impossible to replicate in the game. A 1-4-3-2 system, with one defender sitting behind the back four to act as the door bolt, or Catenaccio. We later called this player role the sweeper, and the player developed into a playmaker, which we now refer to as the libero. In the back four, one wing back has freedom to attack, create chances and score goals, while the other fills the gap to form a back three. You can also recreate the Catenaccio with a back 5 system by choosing the right player roles. Let me know in the comment section if you would like to see me create a Catenaccio tactic in another video. Unlike the Park the Bus, Catenaccio is not a situational system. It is a long-term philosophy, one that won multiple trophies in the 60s and also helped Greece win the Euros against Portugal in 2004. The Catenaccio plays a defensive mentality, giving your team time off the ball to deny the opposition goal-scoring opportunities. The team sits in a low block with a low defensive line, forcing the opponents to play sideways passes and try to break them down. Unlike Park the Bus, Catenaccio encourages your team to play counter-attacks. Widely regarded as the greatest football manager preset of all time, gegenpressing is a style that has dominated world football in recent years. Made famous by German manager Jurgen Klopp, during his time at Borussia Dortmund and Liverpool, the system encourages your team to press relentlessly and try to win the ball back. The pressing never stops. For this style of play, you need players with high stamina and work rate. This will help your team maintain their pressing intensity throughout the game. The mentality is also positive, allowing your team to play on the front foot. But unlike the tiki-taka, the gegenpressing system does not try to keep possession with short passing. You win the ball back, you play it forward, and you try to score a goal. If you lose the ball, you press aggressively and try to win it back. That is why counter and counter-press instruction is highly encouraged for this system. It is the core of gegenpressing. A 4-2-3-1 formation is the best shape you can use for gegenpressing, but you can also play with a 4-2-3 or a 4-2-4. For player roles, I recommend the ball-winning midfielder in midfield as a key component for this system. His pressing intensity favors the high pressing style of play. You also don't need too many playmakers as this is not a possession system, but if you're struggling to create chances, add one or two in there. In defense, you can have wingbacks, complete wingbacks, and ball-playing defenders. Just pick what fits the players in your squad. You can also go crazy with a sweeper keeper on attack duty. His unpredictability is encouraged in the gegenpressing system. In attack, the pressing forward is a superior role for this system as he leads the press. However, choose preferred roles for attackers around him to assist him with that press. This is where Football Manager gets nostalgic. Players will look to get the ball out wide as early as possible, while fullbacks will look to overlap and exploit wide areas. This is your daddy's football. This is Sunday afternoon at Old Trafford when Sir Alex Ferguson was in charge. The philosophy is beautifully simple. Why go through the middle when you can go around? Get the ball out wide, get the ball to your fullback overlapping, and whip it across to get it to a big striker who can attack. Formations like the 4-3-3, the 4-4-2 and the 5-2-3 love wing play. But the formation doesn't matter as much as having players who can actually deliver a killer ball. The system is designed to get maximum width and crossing opportunities. Think of David Beckham to Ruud van Nistelrooy. Think traditional English football where wingers actually stayed out wide instead of cutting inside. This is football where crossing is an art form and not an afterthought. The beauty is in the chaos it creates. While everyone is trying to walk the ball into the net, you're launching 25 crosses per game and letting havoc reign in the penalty area. Use this when you have rapid wingers who can beat their man, and when you have a striker that is like 6'3" and can win almost every ball in the air. Use this against teams that are compact centrally but also forget to defend the flanks. But also remember, wing play lives and dies by your players' crossing ability. If your wingers don't have good crossing ability, maybe stick to tiki-taka. Wing play thrives on a balanced mentality. You're not too attacking, you're not too defensive. With a high tempo and a wide attacking width, they look to get the ball out to wingers to hit early crosses into the strikers. If you don't have a tall target forward, low crosses to a pacey striker also counts here.